It's that time again, folks. We are live. As always, let me know. Hashtag live if you're watching this live. Hashtag on the replay. Hashtag replay if you're watching on the replay. Appreciate you 2 days in a row. You guys are getting spoiled. This is a live that I've wanted to do for a while now. By far, the number one desire, the number one problem. No matter what all the trainers are telling you, I talk to a lot of people every single day and struggling to land the dream offer. That's it. That's why most people know about me. That's why most people come into UCM. That's the reputation we built, even though we do personal development, professional development, sales performance, all those inner workings and all the mechanics that lead to results in the space. We do it all, but I understand that that's where most people struggle, and that's where they see the success in UCM. So that's our reputation. But landing a dream offer, why you are not landing your dream offers and what to do about it. So here's the thing. Landing your dream offer. Dream is kind of a wishy-washy word, right? But what I'd like to break it down to, because again, everybody just comes in and says, I want to make 10K, right? I want to make 10K a month. That's like the overarching dream, because most people, that's what they see in the advertising. But what I consider as the dream offer is landing a position that can facilitate your peak earning potential. That's really it. An offer where you can show up and do your job and perform at a high level, and you earn at a high level. That's it. That can be different for some people. Some people's dream offer is 8K and working part-time. Some people's is 40K and working full-time. It doesn't matter. There's no set dream offer where one offer is going to be magically amazing for everybody. Everybody wants something different. But really, it's the ability to land where you want to land. Thinking about that, this is a result. Landing a dream offer is a result. But the problem is, most people treat it like the effort. Just like sales. Getting a sale is a result, not an effort. You can't go out and get a sale, right? You can do a bunch of things that end up in a sale. Same thing with landing a dream offer. There's no action that is dream offer landing. You have to build up to that. So the thing is, I've never met one person. I've been here 7 years, never met one person who's ever expressed a desire to work in a company with inconsistent lead flow. Some people are more willing to work with those companies, and some are even willing to generate their own leads. But I've never met one person who said, I would love to work with a company with inconsistent lead flow. Or I would love to work with a company who has poor fulfillment, high refunds, unproven sales process, low earning potential. Never once. The thousands of people that I've talked to, I've never once heard someone express any of those things. But here we are. This is the exact situation that most people find themselves in. And it's an undesirable situation. You can make the most of it, but no one desires to come into this industry and I can't wait to quit my 9 to 5 and work more hours and make less money. That's no one's dream. So you would think that after one experience or one underwhelming offer or thousands of people coming before you figuring it out, that would be enough to turn things around. Yet it's happening more today than when we started 7 years ago. We should be learning from this and making the adjustments. If nothing else, the trainers should know this. They've been around the longest, and they should be fixing the problem. But it's actually going down. More and more people are getting trapped. Right? I talk to people all the time who have been in this industry 2 years, still in the same position, bouncing around from offer to offer, inconsistent lead flow, inconsistent earnings, bad management, bad fulfillment, whatever it is. Many different problems. And I understand it. I operate a business myself. There is no perfect business. There's ebbs and flows. But we're talking about the vast majority of people sitting in offers where they have no chance at making their desired income. I don't believe, and I will never believe, that that has to be the case. Now, I'm not here to play the blame game, because that does nothing. Right? But I hear from people who should have left an offer months ago and they're still there. I hear from people who left an underperforming offer and now just accepted another underperforming offer. I can tell their future. I can tell they're going to spend 3, 4, 5, 6 months not working, bouncing from offer and offer on the job market. And they're going to spend another 6 months in underperforming offer. That's their year. It's so difficult. It's already difficult enough to come in and make 6 figures in this industry. Now you think half the time on the sideline and the other half an underperforming offer, you will not get there. So we understand that all the sales trainers will say it comes down to skill. It's just skill. It's all about skill. You want to make more money, make more skill. Right? But then how do you explain such a big industry with so many well-trained, skilled closers making 3 to 4K a month? How do you explain that? How do you tell someone who's been doing the role plays and going through the training and going through the upsell, they bought everything that you sold them? How do you look that person in the face and say, it's just skill. All you need is more skill. It's only skill. And then on the other side, how do you explain multiple UCM students who are making $20,000 a month without sales training, without sales skill development? Strange, right? Who are outperforming people who have invested 30K into this sales training that's all you need. They can't. They need you to trust their theories and their marketing and their ideas, but the truth is in the people. The problem is they're so detached from the people. They only talk to the people who are buying. They won't take time. They want to get non-buyers off the phone. I want to learn from the people who can't afford it, who are stuck, who are struggling, because there's a lot of clues there. Because it doesn't take a lot. With 1 ounce of critical thinking, it allows you to see that they will tell you whatever they need to tell you to make you feel like sales training is the answer to every single problem. That's their job. That's their business. I get it. Again, I'm not blaming them. We have to take accountability and ownership, but I'm just saying how it is. Right? You need to be able to zoom out. Sales trainers are always going to be selling their sales training. That's the way it is. Nothing wrong with that. That's their business. But you got to be able to look at the truth. You have to be able to look beyond marketing. You have to be able to have a little bit of critical thought. Understanding that whether it's 10 or 20 or 30K a month that you want to make, that's a result, not an effort. Landing a dream offer is a result, not an effort. Another way to look at it is these are sums, which means there's an equation that goes along with it. And that's where I see the first problem, or the biggest problem, is people are often obsessed over the sum. I just want to land the job. I just want to make the sale. I just want to make the money. That they forget or ignore the equation. And again, most trainers are not giving the full equation, so that doesn't help, right? Maybe it's ignorance. Maybe people don't know the equation, but everybody's focused on the result. And the problem is when you focus on the result, it distances. To get the sum, you need an equation. You can focus on a sum, you can focus on a number all you want. It doesn't change that number. I can stare at my commission, I can stare at my bank account all day. It does not change that number. I have to now look at the equation. What am I doing that could change that result? Now, I've been doing this a long time. 7 years as a setter, closer, recruiter, trainer, mentor, you name it in this industry, I've done it. And I've been obsessed with the equation. What is the equation that consistently, some people have more earning potential than others. I'm not going to sit here and say that some people don't have more natural talent. You may work as hard and do everything that an 80K a month earner does and not make 80K. I was there. Right? I was making 40K a month. I'm sure there's people making more, and I was probably outworking them. But again, it's about predictability. It's about giving ourselves the best chance at producing as close to that result as possible. And that's what I've been obsessed with. What's the difference between someone making 30, 40, 50K a month and someone making 2? What's the equation? And here's what I've come up with. After mentoring 500 plus people, talking to thousands, watching my own journey and obsessing over watching the difference between success and failure and struggle and in between mediocrity, average. Here's the equation I came up with. Mindset plus strategy plus characteristics plus skill set multiplied by work ethic and effort equals result. Go through that again. Mindset plus strategy plus characteristics plus skill set multiplied by effort or work ethic equals a result. So that's my equation. Every other trainer's equation is skill set equals result. So what are they taking out? Are they willing to say that mindset has no effect on your result? Strategy doesn't matter. The offer doesn't matter. The characteristics of the person doesn't matter. Work ethic doesn't matter. Effort doesn't matter. Skill set equals result. It doesn't add up to me. I'm willing to hear it out. It sounds nice in the market. All you need is one skill. But as an equation, it doesn't make sense. Because I've seen people with good skill and shitty mindset, and they sabotage. I've seen people with good skill and bad strategy, and they get stuck and capped. I've seen good people and bad offers make bad money. So I would love to hear from those trainers. What are you willing to take out of that equation? What don't you think is important? You don't think strategy or mindset's important? Let's have that chat. My door is always open. But let's, instead of the marketing, let's look in terms of most people's journey, because that's the evidence we have here. We will start to see why the result is not adding up. We'll start to see the problem with the sum. If we start with mindset, what I see the average, the normal person struggling with is a fixed mindset, some sort of selfishness. I don't think they mean to, right? It's a lot of times out of desperation, scarcity, fear-based, reactive, emotionally led. That's the average person. That's the majority of people. So we're off to a rough start. If you believe in this equation, right? If not, humor me for this. But if you believe that mindset's important, and I see the majority of people have fixed mindset, meaning they think they're going to be good or suck, and they're worried if they suck, they don't know that they can actually improve, right? They're selfish. They're only thinking about their own needs. They're making decisions fear-based. They're reactive, and they're emotionally led. It's a tough part of the equation, especially if the result we want is 10, 20, 30K a month, 6 figures a year. It's off to a bad start. But where I see it drop off the most, where I see the biggest drop off is when it comes to strategy. Just looking at pure numbers. Let's assume that 20% of the offers in this space, and I think that's more than fair, have the ability to facilitate 6-figure earnings. Could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less, probably a little bit less. 20% of the offers in this space can facilitate 6-figure earnings for at least one person. So the basic assumption would be Since there's 100% of people in this space and only 20% of offers can facilitate that six-figure earnings, you probably want a top 20% strategy. You probably will want to strategize how I can stand out among the other 100% of people. So I'm sure everyone listening wants a strategy that allows them to stand out and land high income opportunities with ease consistently. I've never talked to anyone that was like, nah, it's not important to me. No, I wouldn't want consistent six-figure offers on the table. So my question back would be, tell me what you are doing differently than everyone else who is struggling right now to land these roles. I can predict, if you come to me right now and you say, I'm struggling to land six-figure opportunities, I can predict your strategy. I've never met you before. I can predict what you're doing. How can I do that? With no information, you don't have to tell me anything. I can tell you exactly what you're doing. How can I do that? How can I tell what you're doing? Well, it's because the people who are struggling are all doing the same things. It's a low form of modeling. If we go back to that question, what are you doing to stand out to the top 20% of opportunities in the space? What are you doing differently than everybody else? The answer is usually nothing. The most generic basic strategy, and it's been this way since I started 7 years ago, join Facebook groups, apply for jobs, do some cold outreach, and recruiter pipelines. Recruiter pipelines are fairly new in this industry. You know, they really took full steam 2 or 3 years ago. It's the most basic generic strategy. Join groups, apply for jobs, cold outreach, recruiter pipelines. Now, go out and find anyone who's struggling to find six-figure opportunities. Anyone. Pick a random person, see if they're struggling to find six-figure opportunities, and ask them. Ask them what they're doing. What's their strategy? Anyone at all. Ask them what their job hunt strategy is. I'll bet money. Join groups, apply for jobs, cold outreach, recruiter pipeline. It's the model that anyone who's struggling is using. It's been that way for years. I know because that's the model that I struggled with. And I got curious. Is it me? Is it imposter syndrome? Am I doing something wrong? I started to doubt myself. Then I started to notice a pattern. I asked every single person who I also seen was struggling, and they were doing the same fucking thing. 7 years later, no one is telling the new people coming into this industry, hey, we all tried that. It doesn't work that well. No, we don't care. Again, selfish mindset. No, I'll figure mine out and I'll let people struggle, even though I remember what it's like to struggle. Whatever. That's your battle. So again, while all the other industries are evolving and developing, ours is stagnant. Ours is stagnant. The only people who are evolving are the marketers selling the programs. They're making more money. They're evolving. But our industry has fell stagnant. And it's been that way for years. So your genius, and again, it sounds like I'm not attacking you, I'm attacking the strategy, right? The genius plan to stand out and land that top 20% opportunity that everybody is fighting for is to replicate the exact strategy that the bottom 50, 60, 70% of people are struggling with. Historically, over the last 7 years, the most difficult path, the lowest earning potential path, that's the genius plan to land the six-figure opportunities that everyone is fighting over. Pair that with the mindset, you start to see why the equation is not lining up to the result that you want. You start to see why you aren't landing consistent six-figure dream opportunities because the mindset is off. And if the mindset's not off, the strategy's off. You're starting to see why the equation is not adding up to the sum. Now we got characteristics, we got skill set, we got work ethic or effort. right? The characteristics, and again, these are good people. They're just showcasing bad characteristics. Most people are good. I know that we use these names as kind of judgments. I'm not making a judgment. I know what it's like to be in difficult situations and you don't act with the same integrity. And, we all have the person we want to be and we have the person we are. Sometimes there's a bigger gap than others. I get it. But I see selfishness. I see inconsistency. That's a big characteristic that I see. I just made a post about cowardice, right? And I think that's like shocking, right? We never want to be called a coward, but we all act in cowardice at some point. All of us are cowards in some moments, right? We let fear dictate our decisions. We don't act courageously, right? So we act as cowards. I see dishonesty. I see entitlement. I see pessimistic nature. I see inconsideration. I see a lot of hypocritical characteristics. I see lack of discipline. I see lack of drive. I see lack of resilience. I see lack of perseverance. I see a lack of empathy. So if we don't have the right mindset, we don't have the right skills, strategy, and we don't have the right characteristics, really going to be tough, right? Now we get back to where the trainers are, okay, at least we'll save it on the skill set, right? We can have momentary lapses of character, the key word being momentary, right? But let's work on the sales training side, what they say it is, right? Hard work and skill set. So on the skill set side, the holy grail, according to all the marketing, hundreds of thousands of dollars being pumped into the space, right? All you need is one skill. We've all heard it. That's what got me into this industry. All you need is one skill. But they've never actually told you what that one skill they're referring to is. I've never heard that. It sounds nice, one skill, especially someone like myself who was going through, should I do Amazon FBA? Should I do affiliate marketing? I was doing fucking surveys, whatever I could do online. I wanted the digital nomad, 4-hour work week life. And I was always falling short. And then I hear all you need is one skill, boom. They lay it out so simply. It sounds so nice. Right? It makes sense. They use a little bit of logic and then they stretch the truth. And it's like, yeah, that's it. But they never actually tell you what that one skill they're referring to is. Again, a little bit of critical thinking. What do most sales trainers teach? They teach you what to say and when to say it. Here's the script. When they say this, you say that. When they say this objection, you say this. The what and the when. So if we think of it as what they teach, the only skill I can imagine that they are talking about is memorization. Memorize what I'm telling you to say and when I'm telling you to say it. That's one skill. Anything more than that would be more than one skill. So there's another hole in the strategy, right? Once you get into this space, you understand there's more than one skill. That's why the majority of people come to us after they've went all through this, because it starts to resonate. We're more likely to have someone 6, 8, 12 months in their journey be like, I get it now. So the truth is, to navigate sales, like anything else, there is a set of skills, hence skill set, that you need to develop. There's no one skill for anything. It's just not. Most people develop the very lowest level of skill first. They go through the role plays, they learn the script, they feel like they have to do that before they can go apply for jobs. Right? They think that's it. Or the other side, they continue to lack confidence and feel the imposter syndrome, and then boom, upsell after upsell after upsell, right? They continue on that path. But there's a set of skills, communication skills, and there's a subset of communication skills, persuasiveness and influence, critical thinking, problem solving, decision making. All of these are skills. that you need to be successful in this industry. But we're not teaching people that, how to think critically, the agility of understanding what a prospect is saying, to be able to decide based on the situation how you're going to move forward. We aren't teaching these things. What to say, when to say it. That's it. So most people only are prepared for the situations, and if anything falls out of that situation, like an interview, they have no idea how to sell themselves. In a DM, they have no idea how to sell themselves because they haven't been memorizing those situations. So you have people in this industry who are inconsistent, who are transactional, who are short-sighted, who are desperate, and I understand why. Because they were sold a dream early on, and now they're in. They were told it's okay, quit your job, you're going to make a bunch of money. So again, it's not about blame, it's about what are we going to do different. I believe that you take any of those things out of the equation, the result suffers. If your mindset suffers, the result suffers. Characteristics, strategy, skill set, work ethic, all of those things affect the result. So what do we do now? Well, for me, I like to focus on strategy, because if I know I'm doing the right thing, it makes it easier for me to put in the work ethic. It makes it easier for me to hold the mindset. If I'm unsure of what I'm doing is actually going to work, I start to doubt. I start to fear. I start to procrastinate. So for me, the strategy is the core that allows me to dedicate myself. If I have utmost certainty that my strategy is going to work if I implement it, I'm much more aggressive in implementing it. So the thing is, again, for the last 7 years, the people who struggle with the same strategy. Job post, I'm interested, right? Recruiter pipelines, cold intro messages, or the Hail Mary message. I get the Hail Mary message like 20 times a day, right? Whole story, I'm this, I'm looking for that. That alone tells me no matter how much you paid on sales training, you wasted your money. Because if you're trying to sell yourself, imagine if I reached out to any of you right now for the first time and my intro message was, hey, I'm a mentor. I'm looking to scale UCM. We do a bunch of great stuff there. We have 100 hours of mentorship. We have Hunter and John are amazing. We have so many amazing things. I'm looking for someone to join so I can scale. Is that you, or do you know anyone? I would be a laughingstock. I would be pushed out of this industry. It doesn't make any sense to approach it that way. So the irony of when I open my inbox and see people that have spent $10,000 or more on sales training approaching the most important sale they're ever going to make, which is selling themselves, you can't tell me you know how to sell. You can't tell me you're a great salesperson if you're approaching selling your own service this way. Now, I understand that you think, no, sales only happens because the way I learned it was what and when. I can't think critically outside of this. But I'm telling you, one of the most impactful things that you can do in your career is start thinking that sales, everything is a sale. Everything's an interaction and a transaction. It doesn't mean think transactionally. It means if you're selling your service to a business, why would you not do a discovery? Why would you not ask questions? Why would you put a big long pitch as your first message? Do any of you ever get on a call with a prospect? Before we get into discovery, I just want to lay out all the reasons to buy. What do you think? No, it makes no sense. You have to start thinking outside of the box here. So the idea is, okay, job applications. There's 200 applicants. 5 people get an interview. 1 person gets a job. I don't like those odds. The chances of me being the most experienced in that job post are slim to none. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to apply for jobs. Doesn't mean that if my dream opportunity came up that I would be like, no, I don't apply for jobs. I'll get in line for the right opportunity. I'll put my name in the hat. But that would be about 5% or less of my strategy. I would allocate 5% or less of my time to job applications. Recruiter pipelines, I'm not going to avoid them. There's some great opportunities. There's some great recruiters. I'm going to allocate 5 to 10% of my time there. The rest of my time, I'm going to be modeling the most successful businesses. It's very, very hard for a business and a business owner to say, I do not respect your strategy when it's a mirrored version of their strategy. How can you do that? If you went to a business owner, right, and you built your organic pipeline and you network like them and you created content like them, the only difference is you're selling your service, they're selling theirs. It's very hard for them to disrespect. It's very hard for them to ignore it. If you use the same success principles that successful people use, it's very hard not to be successful. So again, instead of just blindly taking the marketing and the training and being like, yep, that's what they told me to do, and it's not working, so I'm going to continue to do it. Let's look at what is working. Let's look, instead of sitting in the pipeline, let's look at the pipeline as a business to model. Let's think about competing with the pipeline indirectly. Right? So how do these pipelines get these opportunities? Because in the pipeline, highly competitive. There's not enough offers for most of these pipelines. That's just the way it is. How are these pipelines filling with opportunity? Well, I'm guessing they market themselves. I'm guessing they're having conversations with business owners. I'm guessing they're doing research on their client avatars. So what's stopping us from doing that? What's stopping us from operating like a closer agency or a setter agency of one? I am a setter or closer agency, and the only person I have to hire is me. If it works for the recruiters, why wouldn't it work for us? In fact, I have a competitive advantage. It doesn't cost $5,000 to be introduced with me. For recruiters, it does. 3, 5, 10, whatever they charge now. They're charging business owners to introduce you. Why couldn't you do that yourself? I understand they have more reach, they have more resources, they have better connections, sure. Why couldn't you do that on a lower level yourself? What's stopping you from researching the top businesses in this space and going direct to them? What's stopping you from connecting with their employees? What's stopping you from getting more attention on these free social platforms? What's stopping you from moving from stranger to like, oh, JD, I know that guy. That's the guy who blank. What's stopping you from building your personal brand? What's stopping you from implementing these organic marketing principles that every business, every successful business, check mark, will say those work, a proven model that works for getting clients? Why wouldn't we adapt some of those principles rather than continue to adapt the strategy that has only worked for 10% of the people for the last 7 years? Where 9 of the 10 people who join today, 9 of them will struggle. Why would we do that? Why would we continue to bang our heads against the wall and not evolve the strategy? Why would we not look at what's already working? Why would we not poll the people who are making 10, 20, 30, 40K a month and ask them, hey, how did you get that job? Oh, a referral? Wow. You must be the only one. Nope. Next person, referral. Next person, network. Next person, referral. Just like you can find the patterns of what's not working, job post, recruiter pipelines, same things, right? Cold outreach to strangers, intro messages without any context. You can find patterns in the most successful people. I've already done this. I've talked to hundreds of people that are making 10K and above. They're all doing the same things. So at some point, we have to stop just buying into whatever anybody is telling us and think critically and look at patterns. Look behind the people who are making the most money in this industry, which is the people selling these strategies, and say, what is working for people like me and what's not working for people like me? What are the skills that I need to learn? What's the strategy that I need to adapt? What mindset can I find in the top 10, 20, 30% of people? What characteristics am I most attracted to? And how can I adapt those? What characteristics am I least attracted to? And are any of those visible in me? Then once I have the right strategy and the right characteristics and the right mindset and the right skill set, then it becomes just a game of effort. The more effort you put in, the better it gets. But a lot of people have a giant hole in the boat and they think rowing faster is going to change the game. There's a hole in your strategy, a big hole in your strategy, and it's capping your earning potential so much lower than it has to be. And it's amazing to me how many people think that skill is the only ceiling. The evidence is all there. So if any of this makes sense to you, challenge me the same way I'm telling you to challenge everybody else. Think critically about what I'm saying. Find the holes in it. But if it makes sense, I can teach you the things that I've found by obsessing over the real data in this industry, what's actually happening at the surface level, not from the ivory tower of marketers. So if you want to learn these things, if you want to learn the strategy that has worked for me and hundreds of other UCM students, to be able to come into this industry with very little to no experience and land the opportunities that most people say you can't land in this space right off the bat, you can argue with my insights and my opinions all day. You can think I'm a kook. It gets very challenging to argue with the experiences of hundreds of people that have went through. So if you want help on any of these things, you want to connect, I got some openings for strategy sessions probably next week. So just put #help in the comment section and we can break down what part, whether it's the characteristics or the mindset, the strategy or the skill set. I'll lay out the plan for you of what you need to improve. Then you can decide. You want to do it yourself or you want to do it with me? Either way, I believe that when more people have access to the right information, it makes the industry better. So if you need that help, #help, no pressure. One way or another, you'll either get the ideas, the direction, or you get the support. All right. I appreciate you all so much. I hope you have a great rest of the week and a great weekend. Take care. Onwards and upwards.